YouTube. It's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today I'm here with Alaina, right? Got that right?
Yes.
Who is a local to Manhattan area, and you have recently found yourself into snakes. Is that correct?
That's correct. So
why don't we just start off, and I love doing things like this, because everybody kind of just starts off finding themselves into snakes. It's hard for us to talk about it, because obviously, yeah. So when you're new to it, and you just got that one, tell me about your snake and what got you into it.
Well, actually, just a year and a half ago, I didn't know anything really about ball pythons. I didn't even know that term. I just thought all pythons were these 6 foot long or bigger snakes, and I would never want a big snake like that.
So I was gonna go eat babies and things like that, right?
Well, I knew they didn't eat babies, but but I just knew I didn't want a huge snake in my house. Not that I'm afraid of them. It's just not something I was really thinking I'd be into. So actually, I got into it because I like watching YouTube or social media stuff like most people do these days. And I came across a very clickbaity video. I don't know if you want me to say.
Oh, you can. It's cool. It wasn't us. We did not start this passion. I would wish I could take claim for it, but you all probably already know who started this passion. Who was it?
It was Barczyk.
Always Brian Barczyk.
Yeah, his clickbait got me, which I'm not mad at all, because if it weren't for that, I would have no idea how awesome ball pythons are. So.
And that brings a point too, and this wasn't where I was really going to go with this, but as Kurt will tell you, we kind of changed our direction throughout the video. Brian gets just a ton of hate, and this is something you guys always hear me say as far as how, all of us smaller folks, in a lot of ways, we have to be thankful to him. And I'm not saying you got to kiss ass all the time, but you have to understand that he's an integral part to growing the hobby, and you're a case in point. Because had you not ran across that, you'd have never found us, you'd have never found ball pythons, and you wouldn't be a ball python owner, correct?
Right.
So whether you're in a camp that loves or hates Brian, and I'm not trying to, everybody can make their own opinion on that. Everybody knows that I like him. I think he's a good human being, and I consider him a friend. But no matter which side of that camp you're on, you have to understand that he definitely brings people to the hobby. And here is living evidence of that. So, okay, continue your story. I had to get that in there.
Okay, so I was watching a lot of his videos because I thought they were really entertaining, and just learning more about ball pythons. I was just thinking they were just so educational. The way he talks, he's just so passionate about it. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And just learning more about them, him educating me through his videos. I learned that, wow, this might actually be the perfect pet for me. It's really low maintenance, and they're really chill. They're not crazy. They're not trying to get away.
Unlike the carpet python we played with.
Yeah. Some people might think of snakes they're just gonna try to squirm and get away. No, he'll just chill with me and be a perfect gentleman pet and lowest maintenance thing ever. But I do spoil him, so.
And what was the python that you fell in love with? Because balls, it's obviously so much variety, right?
So it kind of is an interesting story because my husband has always been deathly afraid of snakes.
Remember me doing the marketing video? Always talk to the girl. You'll be surprised at how much that'll help you. Go ahead.
So, my husband's always been deathly afraid of snakes. I think partially because of where he grew up. I grew up in Minnesota where there's no venomous.
Oh, are you a Viking fan?
I'm not really a sports person. Sorry.
Gotta try.
But my husband grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and has a lot of experience killing rattlesnakes and things like that, and has found rattlesnake skins in his house. So he's been terrified of snakes his whole life. It's an actual phobia. And
here we love rattlesnakes.
Yeah. So I knew that the hardest part about me getting a snake would be to convince him that it was okay to bring a snake into our house. And so I actually, through Brian Barczyk's videos and in the comments, he actually answers that question for a lot of people. How do I get my mom to allow me to have a pet ball python or my significant other? And his number one thing is educate. Right. And so I just kind of tried to throw facts in,
work them into the dinner conversation
about ball pythons and how they're not the same thing as other snakes, you know.
Ball python, Burmese python. Right?
Yeah. So It took a little while, but eventually he actually started watching Brian Barczyk's videos,
Awesome.
and he kind of got into it. But and then he saw like how much I wanted one, so he finally gave in. And
happy life, or happy wife, happy life. Is that the saying?
Yeah. He's still afraid of snakes, but he's not afraid of our snake now.
And what was your first snake? What kind did you get?
He's a piebald ball python.
So and that's just funny because I talk about the pieds a lot. Because for me, getting my wife, who was not my wife at the time, but is now, into snakes, it was this guy right here. It was also a pied ball python. So I think getting, pied is, like, it seems like it's this gateway snake. This is like, if you go back, if you're old like me and you go back to the 80s and you hear them talk about the gateway drug of marijuana leading to everybody doing a bunch of crack and killing people, this is a gateway ball python right here. And no, I'm not saying, I'm just making fun of some old Reagan stuff from way back in the day. Don't hate me for it. So, like, it's the same thing. Like, I use this exact snake to get my wife into it. And so what made you settle on the pieds?
Actually, my husband.
And that was not pre-planned, I promise.
Yeah, no, I was actually looking maybe at, like, getting an exanthic or something. Oh, yeah. But he, for some reason, really was attracted to the colorations of the piebald snakes. And so I thought, maybe I could make him a little bit happy with us getting a snake, and I'll get, whatever he wants. And I actually, fell in love with the piebald, and it's now my favorite.
Oh, pied is such a cool gene. And one day if you take this and you add to this and you do some back breeding, you can make a really cool lightning pieds. And you can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I actually don't know what that looks like.
This is silver and black, and it's just, they're so cool. It's like a dark silver because of how.
So instead of the brown, it's silver. Wow.
Yes, instead of the orangish brownish, it's a silver, and then you get the black pattern, and then of course the white breaks. They're awesome. They were actually made by accident by a guy in Canada for the first time. He didn't know he had exanthic in his collection. Was trying to make pieds and hatched on exanthic pied.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I wish I was like. Why can't that happen to me? Accidental recessive genes floating around. Yeah. So I'm just kind of grabbing out the snakes that you've mentioned, the ones you found. So we have a super pastel exanthic here that we produced, and this is of course my first pied that I ever owned. And so what's your next snake you're looking at? Throw this guy up for you.
So I really want a bigger snake, that does the same thing, that can chill with me. And I've been asking around, and I've heard that a red-tailed boa would be a good...
Red-tailed boas, they would be. Should be very careful. Yeah. Has anybody told you about IBD?
No.
Okay. Boas can carry a disease called inclusion body disease. That's why our boa doesn't live in my house. It lives at camera guy Kurt's house. And if they carry it, it's a death sentence for your pythons. They can carry it forever, never show a symptom, and your pythons get it, and then it's...
What is IBD?
It's inclusion body disease, and basically the back half of their muscles will stop working. They won't be able to eat or do anything, and they die. Now, it's not I'm not saying every boa has it, but it is something to definitely be concerned with if you add a boa to your collection. If you choose to do it, just make sure keep them separate and treat it like quarantine. Disinfect in between. Should be okay. But it is definitely something to be concerned about. And you'd mentioned too one of Kurt's favorite snakes. We were talking before we filmed the camera. And that was blood pythons, right?
Oh yeah. I saw on Instagram somebody giving a blood python neck rubs, and it seemed super chill.
Yes.
Kind of like a red-tailed boa would be.
They have this horrid reputation. For being just this evil, nasty snake. However, recently I've been around a few of them that were really nice. And I think what's happened is more and more have been captive bred. And we're getting, farther along in generations of captive bred and less wild caught, or wild captive hatched, which is just a term for taking wild eggs and letting them hatch. You're getting into a much friendlier, nicer blood python. So that may be a very good option now that those breeds are starting to kind of calm down. But have you seen how big they get?
How big?
So bloods don't get really long. They're about the same length as a ball python, maybe a little bigger. You may get to 6 feet. They can get to 40 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So they can be this big around.
That's okay.
Like my thigh.
I'm thinking 50 pounds is about as big as I want a snake to get.
So yeah, I'd say female red-tailed boa would be a nice big thick snake for you, or a blood python would be a good choice. Just make sure if you get a blood, you go from somebody who's good with bloods, reputable, and has got captive bred bloods. So I'll get you some wild caught ones. If you do, it is going to be a nasty, nasty poop throwing, biting monster of a snake.
Now, can you get different morphs as blood pythons?
You can. There are some different morphs. There's cherry bombs and things like that that are really cool. There's lots of reds in the blood pythons that you can get into.
Oh.
So, and you also have your Borneo short-tailed pythons, which are related to reds, kind of the same type of thing. So you can go either way with that. But there's definitely some cool patterns and colors to them. And a lot of people like them. Kurt likes them, I think, because they're, I don't know. Why do you like them, Kurt?
Because they're just a big, massive snake that's fat and huge.
They're not really that long, though.
No, they're just really big.
They're just like Buddha the snake. Not real tall, but real big around. So they are neat, though. They're definitely cool. And they're also very athletic. Like, you look at that snake and you'd be like, that thing's this big old fat snake. It's not going to be very athletic. They can literally strike backwards. Because they have enough body strength and body condition that they can flip that head up and come backwards. Where like a ball python can't do that. So really kind of a really neat snake when you look at the abilities it has. It's like a gaboon viper without venom. So, yeah. So what it would be, too, then, I guess my next question for you, being known as to talk about some of the snakes you have, some of the snakes you want. And, you know, when you were first talking, she asked a lot of questions about different genetics and breeding. So is breeding something that's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it just because I wonder if I would ever want to breed my own ball python. And, but I don't think that I would want to. I wouldn't say never, because I would never have thought I'd get a ball python ever.
Right.
You know, but it's just interesting the way that it works and what all goes into it, and so that's why I asked you a lot of questions about it earlier.
Right,
It's just really interesting.
So I mean, so you're not saying like maybe you want to just do like one pairing for the curiosity of it, or would you want to do something like what, like this monstrosity is becoming?
I would do something more like, I would like loan my snake out to be bred or something, to like have babies, and
so more just for the experience of
yeah,
being involved in it.
Yeah.
And not really looking at it like a business or anything like that, right?
No.
I'm just curious because some
Yeah.
people do, and you know, I've known other people. So I think you said your husband's military. Is that right?
He is, yeah. So there is a small chance we could get stationed somewhere that doesn't allow snakes.
Oh, like Hawaii.
Yeah.
Damn Hawaii. Yeah.
So I'm.
You get the beach, but you get no snakes.
I'm
and
really-
$5 gallons of milk. Screw Hawaii.
I'm really hoping that doesn't happen.
If you're watching Hawaii, I'm sorry. I'm just being an ass. Yeah, I understand that. The reason I was saying is I know a lot of, like, we had some folks that lived here when we were new, starting out, that were also doing the same thing. And one of the reasons she was doing it was because her husband's military. And she looked at it as, this is something that I can do. And if we get stationed somewhere else, I can still do this while I'm at home with the kids, because they had a couple of kids, and not have to, like, change jobs every time we change stations kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they could do together. And then when he's out in the field or gone, she'd be able to take care of it, and something that they'd have to share whenever he was home. And I thought, man, that was really cool from a military standpoint to be able to do that. And I know we got a lot of our people, you know, that are on like our Patreon that are like one of our recent guys is ex-military. So it's, I always try to think about the military aspect and how snakes work. And there's none in the barracks, I promise, Fort Riley. No soldier that lives in a barracks has ever bought a snake from us. Don't go looking there. It's fine. If anybody, there's no snakes there. So anything else you want to add about your experience to somebody that's watching now, that's like you were, that maybe somehow, I don't know, found us instead of Brian first, and is looking at getting into this and wondering if they should?
If they already are interested in snakes? Or?
Yeah, like, you know, picture you a year and a half ago or so finding that first Brian Barczyk video. And let's pretend somebody found us instead of Brian, which I know probably never happens. What would it be? What would you tell them if they're on that fence or they're thinking about it?
I don't know. That's a hard question.
Is it worth doing? Are you happy you got the one? Would you make the leap again?
Yeah, absolutely. He's like the best. I'm obsessed with my ball python. Like, he has an Instagram now, like, with over 2,000 followers.
Jesus, Kurt, what the hell? Seriously, Kurt, you got to post on Instagram. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
She'd probably share it. She's got more followers than we do. Come on. Okay, keep going. Sorry, I had to yell at him. You never post.
No, like, I'm absolutely obsessed, and I love my snake to death, and I can't imagine not having him anymore. Like, it would tear me apart if we ever had to give him up. Also, a good thing to know is that they live really long compared to other pets, and we recently had a pet pass away. He was a Jack Russell Terrier, and he lived like a full life, but he only lived 13 years, and I just wish that we had a pet that lived longer. But I'm so happy that my ball python's probably going to live longer than
Yeah,
him.
15 to 20
Yeah.
years is pretty common
Yeah.
for these guys. And I feel your pain on that. You know, I keep a lot of mammals too, so I'm always losing a mammal, it seems like. I think I lost a cat in 15, a dog in 16 or 17. When did Leela die, Kurt? You remember? 17. Then we had a kitten that we were going to adopt, but before we were able to get it inside and calm down, it apparently got some rat poison somewhere. So yeah, like I feel your pain on that. And these guys do. And, you know, we talk about all the time, we've only ever lost one adult snake. And all the animals we've kept in all the breeding. We've lost several babies that just failed to thrive and failed to make it. But one adult, and that was actually, she was at least 14. We're not really sure how old she was because we didn't have her as a baby, and she died due to complications in pregnancy. And that's the only adult we've ever lost. So
That's really awesome.
yeah, but
she didn't
I mean,
lose any more than that.
but the
With
point
how many
is,
snakes
and
there
we're going to. I mean, you know, law of averages, and the more time we have them. But you're right; they're a long-lived, hardy pet that you know you can have for a long time, interact with for a long time. All right, anything else you want to add, Kurt?
No.
Elena, anything else you want to add? Plug your Instagram, by God, you got to do that.
Oh, at PD Python.
at PD
At
Python,
he also-
and at Olympus Reptiles while you're at it. Tell Kurt to post more stuff.
Yep.
All right, guys, that's all we got. Unless Kurt's got any questions.
No.
All right, we'll see y'all next week.
All right. Thanks. Bye.